Geoffrey, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk about the idea that geopolitical risk really just doesn't seem to matter anymore at all. Is there a sense now that markets have nowhere to go but up?
Well, I think it's a bit binary there, right? As in, it doesn't seem to matter because if things flare up, no one really wants conflagration, so it's going to come down again. But it will matter, when it really, really does matter, and maybe by then it could be a bit too late, right? But given how markets have performed, it seems the way is up. We're overweight risk, right now. So until you get to that stage, where it really, really will matter, and the bar is very high for that, I think we just stay the course for the time being.
All right, so staying the course for the time being also involves looking at every other piece of the market that's not just U.S. stocks. There's a sense right now that it's just a risk-on rally for everything, emerging markets. It could be some certain commodities out there. What exactly does represent the place where you see the most momentum going to the next few months?
Well, one area where we've actually started to add to risk right now is emerging markets. I think last year they got beaten down quite badly. The fears about the trade war, fears about, how global growth on a cyclical level is coming down. We're not ready to, really start to, ride a major cyclical train yet. Our growth forecasts are quite conservative, but from a positioning point of view, from a base effect and from where things can start to turn, emerging markets is probably where we find the best risk reward. Of course, let's hope that both sides, put pen to paper next week.
All right. The other place that we're watching right now is what's happening with the U.S. and China. It feels like forever since we've talked about China trade headlines, but they're going to be front and center again this coming week. Is the U.S.-China trade situation going to be one that catalyzes the markets further to the upside, or has most of it already been priced into the current market environment?
I think most of it is priced in, right now. So we just need, as I said, both sides to put pen to paper, and that's it. I guess the focus right now is, what happens next? Is there going to be a phase 2 trade deal? The president, has been talking about that. Less views on that from China because it really involves a lot of structural changes, which I think Beijing will find, difficult to countenance. But at the same time, I think what the market is looking for, if we can get, let's say, a period of 18 to 24 months, where they just keep the status quo, no more escalation, focus on different things right now, I think markets will absolutely take that.
All right, let's talk about the European continent before we leave you. As we take a look at the Brexit negotiations, what's happening on those levels there, we know that they're going to leave the EU. We know that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, wants a free trade agreement with the EU, but there's a little bit of pushback here. How much will Brexit and the UK and Europe play into the market thesis in 2020?
Yes, so the new UK passports already don't have the words European Union on them now, and we've seen photos already. So yesterday there was a chat between the Prime Minister and Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commissioner. She did push back against the prospect of a comprehensive trade deal, but I think most of the market participants agree that something that comprehensive would take a lot of time. The EU-Canada trade deal took 7 years to negotiate, right? But something along the lines of a bare-bones framework, which actually sets the stage on an official level for future deals. Something like what Japan and the US signed, which got through in record time. So that, I think, is absolutely achievable. And let's not forget, almost nobody expected Boris Johnson to come back with a deal towards the end of last year in October, and then he pulled a rabbit out of the hat. So I don't think anyone's going to underestimate him this time around.